Sargon here, and welcome back to another episode of Bytown. Thank you for joining me. Very much appreciate it. Last time out, we built this condo neighborhood along with a elder care and a child health center. So a nice little community. We did place a fire station and a police station without too much thought. We're going to leave those there for now. We will be coming back to this area, but we do have plans for today. Now, before we do leave, look at all these people waiting at this bus stop, not on the other side of the street. So let's have a look at the line details, and you can see there's actually some pretty decent usage. Wow. Where's this one? 164. So we're over by the high school. So we're getting a lot of people from that neighborhood coming over here. Makes sense, which is the primary reason why I put in place this particular bus line. So, okay, that's panicked me for a second. We can see I have a mod here where it'll tell me where these people are trying to get to from this spot, and they're obviously trying to get to the one spot where this bus line goes. So before we move on from this, and I do want to get the blue line here. There we go, grabbed him. We are going to change the vehicles to the articulated airport bus, and we will see how many buses, how many people can get on these particular buses. I'm not too sure. Looks like it's 50, which is funny. So where I live here in the city of Ottawa, we have a ton of articulated buses, and let me tell you, we pack more than 50 people into one of these buses here. So I might at one point look to come back and add in some custom asset buses here, but for now we will actually add up to 6 buses. And let's kind of see how that filters through. So I think that's done the trick. We'll keep an eye on the bus lines. Just gotta wait for these to unbunch. And we may or may not take off a bus, but oh, wow. Well, we'll see. That's still a very busy stop. So we will have to come back and have a look to see about those bus lines. But that is not what today's episode is about. Now, I had anticipated coming in and building some new industry. Now, we do have the one industry over here, which is this central experimental farm, which I do actually have plans to come back and make a few modifications. But that is not today's episode either. Now, like I said, had planned to do it, but instead, we're just gonna have a look over here. We have this public works campus that is actually thriving quite well, thanks to the recent influx of industry demand. This had been dying off, but we're not spending time here either. I'm really teasing things out here. So if we look at our electricity availability, you'll notice the fact that we are on the yellow line. And if we come to our budget, you'll notice that we're operating at 114% of our budget, just to keep things above basically brownouts. So today's episode, we are going to work, I really shouldn't have buried this too long into the intro here, because you can tell by the YouTube thumbnail, that's what we're building today. So we will be not adding anything into this area. We'll probably come in and decommission these geothermal plants that we have operating here, as well as our 2 coal power plants, because we will build a dedicated power facility. Now, having a look, this is our map area. And then if you come over here, you can kind of see this is where we built our church and the first part of our nature reserve or national park or whatever which you wish to call it. You know, in the neighborhood we've been working on, in the condo neighborhood. I have plans here, so I don't just want to plunk down a power station, and I definitely don't want to park it right across, pardon the pun, not intended, right across from the nature reserve over here. So I've been scoping up some areas. So you'll notice we do have a few options. We have right along the highway here, which, you know, could be a good option. It's currently undeveloped land, and, you know, it could work. But I do have plans because I have something, you know, that I want to put here and would like to have that fully connected. So we've got over here with this collector coming out this way, have plans for this area as well, and part of this. But since I come over here, and this is the area I want to build the forestry industry, you know, although I might do a few other things out here besides a little residential and whatnot, but this would be the forestry industry. As well as if we come and find our resources, we do have an ore industry. So while I was researching power plants, I have found a few examples where some of these are, you know, in some urbanish locations, but as well, I have found these also right next to resource areas or areas where they do other industries that require a lot of electricity. So I'm going to actually build, I'm going to come over here and we're going to work on building a dedicated power plant facility in this general area, which I like because we're close right now to what will likely be a large cargo line, as well as our forest and ore industry. At least that's what I have planned for the moment. So what we need to do is we do need to get our collector over in this area. So let's get him over there. So we are going to take our curved road tool and we're going to come and we will sweep it away. The other thing before we finish things off, I do want to lay down a road that will run parallel to our rail line here, that we will work to connect into. So we'll come back and we might end up changing the type of collector, but for now we'll leave it as is. Connect there. And at this spot, we'll come back to our industry road. And we'll take this opportunity, actually, to slow the game down because I'm just noticing I have high-speed cargo trains, I think, going by. And that's not looking to speed past the gameplay here. So, and that did not come in. There we go. We'll come just off that. We might move it around. And we're going to run this currently at grade because I don't foresee this area having a lot of high traffic. So an at grade crossing, especially with this amount of length between the intersection and the railroad crossing, I think there's plenty of space. So this should work out. Now, for the short term, we're just going to run road back here. We will actually, I'm going to run a guide road across. And actually, hang on. So before we do that, I do want to look at our train heights. This is important. So we do have some train And we will, for the most part, respect the topography, but we will bend some of this to our needs. And I 100% see this as feasible. Now, not a planner, but I do see when I see at least the residential, even a big Amazon warehouse development, they just come in and just level the land to make things work. So we are going to make sure that this area where we're going to put a lot of our facilities is basically a level pad. And then we'll come back and smooth things out as soon as we're done with all of our development. So we'll come back. And the other thing I actually do want to do is come in and put in a key. So we'll just use a simple key here. So we'll just come in and use a simple key. And the reason why I think we would have a key is as part of an environmental mitigation plan. So basically, instead of if there was happen to be an accident, it wouldn't just go right into the rivers here. So that's good for the moment. So we'll come back as we were doing before. We're going to run a guide road over. About here would be good. And I didn't fully flatten all the terrain I wanted. There we go. And that's because we're going to start putting in some of these large oil tanks. Now, I have not yet unlocked the oil industry, so we'll probably come back at some point and place some of these in. But for here, we're going to put in these props that I believe come with just a generic industry. And I'm kind of leaving a bit of space in between these. You know, to be honest, these might be closer in real life. Not 100% sure. But I think for our purposes, this will work out quite well. Small problem with the roads. Let me fix those roads and be right back. Okay, so we're back. So got that sorted out. Run another one right along here. Come back. Noticed a few trees. Let's just make sure those are gone. And we'll use the move it mod. Oops. Move it mod just to put that one right up against the corner. Then we'll come in with surface painter. And we'll just fill all that space in. So some oil tanks do not make a power plant. So we will look. I did download some assets here, which I think will work nice and well here. And that is these here, this natural gas, and there's 2 assets. We will start with this one. Place this one right next to it, and not enough room here for a third, which I do want to leave space for. So we're going to come back. We'll delete that road. So the other things I've noticed that happen to be in this type of area is these transformer and so we're just going to place a bunch and this is what happens when you don't completely level all your terrain before you get started. What we will do with these is let's move them a little closer together. Take away the space that's in between. Then we'll come in with surface painter and we will fill this all in with gravel. That part with concrete. So we have the beginnings of this. Now, to be honest, I'm not sure whether these type of transmission lines or transformers would run this way, but we'll take a little bit of liberty. Did some research, but I couldn't find a definitive answer. So the next thing we're going to do is we do need to provide office space for this. So we're going to come down. Come in with our office, or sorry, parking. So from this parking lot here, we'll still run a road up. And I've noticed that we're slightly off, so let me just adjust this. So we have a nice parking lot there. And we're going to come in and we will place a office building for these folks here. So we have a number of great assets, but the one I want to go with and will require a bit of a modification, is this eco office. I'm going to place it down, and we'll come in and center that. Now, funny enough, we are pretty far away from this big, massive, we're just far away enough from this big, massive power plant facility that it hasn't jumped. We'll work towards fixing that. But what's important here is we're going to come in. This particular office requires a lot of employees. So we're going to come into the RECO settings. We're going to add a local one. And we're going to make this 75 workers. You see it's a bit of a spread out, which I think is pretty good. I would imagine a lot of highly educated workers because of the engineering jobs and whatnot to manage this, as well as everything here on this complex. Now, speaking of this complex, we're not done yet. So you will notice, besides the fact we have some terrain issues to work on, is we are missing some security to come in here. So I did download another great little asset, and it is this security checkpoint. So if we come in, we're going to have to be mindful of our terrain. So I'm going to place it, and then we will work towards so it's not going to work too well that way. So let's first then, we'll take a little quick mulligan, grab our slope terrain tool, make it a little bigger, right click here, left click there. And we'll come back. Try not to get this to jump. And we can actually take advantage of this asset to kind of connect the roads that are a bit off. So this asset does not play well on unlevel, even slope terrain. Kind of see the bumps there. But I think this is a nice asset. It's got checkpoints. It has built-in police cars, so security. In fact, those criminal holding cells that you have at a power plant facility. Little known fact. Yeah, I don't think those exist. So we'll take the Move It mod. We'll take a bit of a mulligan on this. We'll come back into our terrain tool, and we will level things out here instead. So we're just going to come back in. Place a security asset there again. Now we have a really big slope here. Let's see what it looks like when it comes down. That is definitely too steep of a slope. So let's take advantage of one of the greatest mods that we have in this game, and that's the Move It mod. So we will disconnect that road, remove some extra roads we don't need at the moment, and we will come in and we will just move this down. So I think that should give us enough space. So once again, we'll come in with our slope terrain tool, right click here, left click there, and we will slope things down. And I think this should work. Yeah, I think that gives us enough. Yeah, that's fine. That works well. Now, obviously the fill doesn't work, but we'll come back and we will fix that. So now in the middle here, I think we would begin to see some other assets and a little compound area for some other type of, utilities in here, small warehouses, small workshops, because this would be the main where the natural gas is produced. This is where it's stored. But we also need the ability to, do maintenance and have some other things around here. Before we do place that, I do want to add, this is a great new asset that's available, is we can add in a helicopter pad. So I would say, because we will add a firefighting capability along here, we are going to add a helicopter pad that happens to be the disaster response. But in some ways, I also see the fact that, depending on how rich these owners are, and, maybe the owner of the power plant facility, if it's not run by government, that, maybe they have a helicopter pad. So I think that looks good. Now we're going to come in along here, and we do have some generic industry assets that work quite well here. So we come in here and we will look at a few of them. So what I do see is a small compound where these guys would sit. Move this one over here. So I could see a nice area here that would, I think, also would be fenced off as a shop area with, a few, where vehicles would come if need be, but definitely an area where some of the, machine shop work or some other tools would be kept. So let's just fence this one out now as well, because I think this would have some separate fencing. Then over in this area, I could see it acting as a storage facility for a whole bunch of miscellaneous things. So once again, we will use Surface Painter to come in. So let me just come in and detail this side up as well. So we took a little bit of a rethink of some of this stuff. So I have put a warehouse, just a small warehouse that will zone and bring in some oil products. I think that makes sense, having something like that, simulate various supplies coming in and out. I do have these two smaller, buildings. It says fish factory, but in reality, it looks like kind of a small workshop as well as this. I did run some water pipes out here, but obviously not all the way. So let's add these in. There we go. So that should take care of that. And you'll notice just even this small development here has completely taken away our industry demand. That's okay. We will continue to build out our population. Now, the other thing, if you notice, so with these tanks, I once again didn't spend enough time making sure I got the train exactly as I wanted. So not only is this on an angle, if there was a leak here, this would just completely run right off. So we're going to come in and we are going to take our Move It mod and we will pick up, at least start here, and we will bring that up in height, and then we'll come along here and do the same thing. So let me take care of that. Okay, so now that we've got this, we will come in with our train brush and we will just fill in these areas here. And then we'll come in just along the ocean floor, or I should say the river. We will fix these up here. There we go. Maybe there as well. So that's looking a lot better. Probably got a little flooding over here, and we'll fix those keys. But what I do want to fix here before we move on, actually we can use the Move It mod. Sometimes I watch some other players as well, and if they're playing vanilla, I might forget, or I should say unmod it. There we go. There we go. So the other thing I do want to add in this area, so this does provide security. We're having a bit of a workers issue, which, yeah, we'll have to worry about later. So let's just kind of ignore that for now. Ignorance is bliss. So we have the disaster recovery, but I do want to add in a small fire station. So now this is an ambulance station. Let's have a look at that. It says ambulance right on top. So let's not do that. So I do want to have firefighting capability here in this particular area. And I think, yes, I think this one would work. Nothing over the top, nothing overly special, but I think this would work. So we are going to come into Bob as well, and we are going to come in and remove these parking spaces. So you'll notice the fact that we do have bays on the back. So I do want to add industry road coming around. And then off of this, I am going to put a specific parking lot just for these firefighters or for those that work here. It doesn't have to be overly big. So we will just take a small one and we will just run it off the side here. Like that. We got a bit of a tear, it looks like. There we go, it's a little better. Just with the industry roads. So what we have here is a great massive natural gas plant with all the storage it needs. You know, another warehouse for parts and all that stuff, and a few other maintenance buildings around. Firefighting capabilities in case something goes wrong. A disaster relief helicopter pad, but really it's kind of just mimicking having a helicopter pad here. And then the office complex. Now, I purposely left this area back here open, which we actually will fill back up here. But I do want to add in a small park. Now, I do have this invisible park gate, which we will add. And that's more so, not that I want to put a lot of... actually, take that away. That I want to see a lot of park assets per se, but I do just want, from a land value and just happiness of these workers, to have a park here in the back. So now with that place, let's come and paint in our park area. So with that, we'll come into our parks and plazas, and we'll just go with our city park. So before we finish up this area, at least we still have more of the park to build, but in terms of connecting the path, I do want to actually have a separate entrance in here. So we'll grab our industry road, and I think we'll run it along here. We'll come in and get another security gate. Place that there. Then we will come back. Oops. We will grab the path. And we will provide an option as soon as you're inside. If you wish, you can walk along this area. Just take the move it mod. See if we can get rid of... No, it's not going to allow me easily. So we have a bit of a meandering path. Let's come back to our park assets. We're really not going to put in much because it's not a park in the truest sense, but I do want to provide a few amenities and jazz this place up a bit. So I think we'll place this one right up against the building. Now we will come in and run a path right across. And we have a few other assets we can put in at this point. Like I say, this is more about providing an area for those that work here as a place to come out and explore. So we will place a few picnic tables. But for the most part, this is going to be an open area. Garbage bin for people to come out and enjoy and walk around as they wish. And let me just plant a few trees and be right back. So now that we have our trees in, I'm going to take advantage of a great tool here, and that is this network multi-tool. And that is because I want to add in fencing along the perimeter. So we're going to come in. Oops, you know what? That's got the road. So it's a lot easier, obviously. Come in and if we grab our fence, we will use the park fence. Come back. And we will just bring that right up against the key. Because this particular key is not designed for walking, although I do have the content creator pack that allows that. The other thing is we'll just start fencing in the facility. Okay, so we have our fencing in. Now that does not look exactly straight, at least from this angle. So we're just going to... Boop, there we go. Looks a little better. See if I can actually match it up to the other side. Now, one of the things... straighten that. I think we would have a small parking lot for visitors that might not be permitted to come in with their vehicles and might get picked up. So we will add a very small car park off the side. And actually we lost our fence, so let's grab our fence tool again. There we go. Pull that up. And we will do the same here. So we'll probably lose our fence. That's fine, we can fix it. That is looking pretty good. So let me go around and just do a little bit more detailing and be right back. This now complete. We have our check-in security. We have this all fenced in. Got all the fuel that we need, the transformers coming out, the plant itself. A couple of already abandoned buildings, which through the magic of YouTube, we will fix. Those are good for now. Now, the reason why those are having problems, if we click on them, they might be okay now, thanks to all the increased land value, including having the fire station and a small park. So those might be fine now, but as you notice, we just ran out of all our industry jobs, thanks to this development here. We'll worry about connecting this up later and when I begin to develop this area. And we might change things up a bit, but I think this is working for now. Now, with all that said, we spent all this time and effort to actually connect. So even though it shows here we have a lot of power, by no means are we actually using it at this point because it's not connected to the grid. These would tend to run I think a little more straight. We're going to come across here. For now, this will get developed, so we'll worry about that later. And while we took all those new jobs, took all this redevelopment over here, which is fine. We're going to come in and we will remove and decommission these two plants right there. So if we now have a look, that will adjust that, but we will turn down our budget immensely. And let's see how that does. We can really put it at 60%. I think that's better. There we go. So we're well positioned now for the future. We have plenty of power. So that is one utility completely taken care of. So let's just have a quick look at what we've done.